You're a lovely loyal viewer if you're watching this video before the inevitable censored re-upload. Welcome to part 2 of the ongoing series of An Unsuccessful Comedian Bangs on for Ages about a show that normal people don't care about in a desperate attempt to hold back the fast-approaching career change. Thanks to everyone who watched part 1. If you didn't, I question what sort of human being you are that you figured you'd dip your toe into the water at part 2. Mind you, you're no worse than the production company that blocked the video completely. They didn't watch the fucking thing either. In a failed attempt to contact the company, I found a form on the front page of their website telling me they stand against slavery and human trafficking. Alright. I never even asked or thought that. It's a bit like walking in on your friend masturbating and they loudly shout, "I'm not looking at pictures of spaniels in Christmas jumpers." I didn't think you were, but now I definitely do. Anyway, in between definitely not doing any slavery, no honestly, officer, this production company, which will remain nameless to avoid any accusations of childishness, have allowed Lord Sir Master Alan Sugartits to continue showing off about how many coins he's managed to accumulate, despite basically being a pound shop Steve Jobs crossed with a hairy conker. To hammer home what it was that made him so disproportionately rich, he popped out to a pound shop to get a couple of robot toys that would only impress those with genuine synapse issues.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Wow.
And commanded them to program and market them in one day. Which again returns me to my point of, if I'd been asked to do this in the time limit, my robot would be called Bleep Bloop and just contain sound bites of me shouting maniacally, "Is this what you want? I don't even want to do business anymore, stop looking at me!" I'm sure this is all taken into account though. I imagine he doesn't actually expect them to do a good job, that would be completely unreasonable, and yet for some reason he gets genuinely angry that they couldn't do it.
This is a bloody shambles, you lot. This is the third task, and the third task you've lost. I'm not impressed at all with any of you.
You sold some computers out of a van, you never programmed a robot during one day. Lower your expectations, you mad prick. However, due to the nature of the program, like a computer, someone had to lose. And given that it was a choice between a team that didn't succeed and a team that basically spent the last day mocking their fallen comrade Jeff, only to stick the knife in one last time by changing their name to Simon as typed out by Michael J. Fox, the choice of loser was obvious. Falling massively from grace was project manager Michaela, who I like, partly because she's northern, partly because she looks like Karen Brady midway through smelling a fart, but mainly because she seems human. I mean, look at Misery Chops here. She looks like she tried to download her personality from the cloud over a patchy Wi-Fi signal. However, she still lost, so Michaela was forced to bring back Harrison, a man who resembles Ryan Gosling carrying ping-pong balls in his jowls, and returning bottom threeer Elliot, who still sports a dead-eyed 1,000-yard stare when not talking, like the ventriloquist removed his hand from his rectum. Unfortunately, Elliot's powers abandon him and he gets sent on his way, leaving Michaela to return home and celebrate her survival by being groped.
5:20 a.m.
Hello, it's the police. Listen, I caught Alan wandering around Hyde Park in his pants shouting something about being Prime Minister.
Thank you.
After putting his trousers back on, His Excellency Lord Sugarsnap Peas calls the 7,000 remaining contestants to the mass intelligence graveyard that is Wembley Stadium, to tell them that football itself has admitted it has all the entertainment value of a dead bee in a crisp packet, and thus requires besooted arse chimps to dance about in a desperate attempt to keep people entertained. I knew it. I always thought football was a big bucket of dog piss. I never understood why people actually liked it. Now it turns out even those willing to spend thousands on special tickets need other forms of entertainment because clearly football isn't enough. After selecting food choices from the in-house chefs, yummy, fish with actual cum on it, anyone? Both teams find out that what their clients want is basically all nice stuff without having to pay for it.
So maybe champagne, canapes, main course, and then obviously drinks all the way through. Yeah.
So in order to punish those impudent capitalist dogs, both Harrison and Bushra attempt to cringe them all to death.
So in 1948, the Olympic Games were held here at Wembley Stadium.
And now the end is near.
However, in the end, because the universe felt sorry for the boys, they were allowed their first ever victory, in scenes so moving it was exactly like watching a Make-A-Wish Foundation child being told that despite the rapid growth of the tumour, the Dolphins have a free slot tomorrow at 4.
Round 36. Right. Well, it's your first win, chaps. Your first win.
This meant project manager Siobhan, a woman who looks like she'd only genuinely smile at a funeral, was put directly in the firing line, and despite attempting to hide behind Elizabeth, a woman who looks like she'd punched a statue because it was eyeing her up funny, and Joanna, who I genuinely feel sorry for. Based on her resting facial expressions, it seems the voices in her head do nothing but hurl personal insults at her. Siobhan became the next person to be directly told how big Trump's cock is.
5 a.m.
Lord Sugar would like you to meet him at Norfolk Primary School.
Why do you always tell them where they're going? They're not driving. So at this point, the entire pretense of business has fallen off. Old Grandad Sugarlumps is celebrating his 700th spawning day and sends out these qualified business people to collect him presents. All the items are themed around him and his life's work, proving his similarities to a certain former Apprentice host and current international cunt, by admitting he's basically constructing a shrine about himself for him to die wanking in. Some of the items included some Jewish cakes, because he's Jewish, some bricks because he likes bricks, and a monogrammed handkerchief. Alright, it's pretty clear that as a person he doesn't quite stretch to 9 items. Although one was an Amstrad computer, which as a birthday present is like opening a box to find a note that says, "Oops, I accidentally ran over your mum." The task basically exists to force the candidates into begging shopkeepers for small change.
Could you drop me to 14.50, please?
50p? Are you really
Yes,
going
absolutely.
to do me for 50p?
Fine, just take the 50p and fuck off. This also inevitably leads to petty squabbles.
Elizabeth, I found it really unprofessional the way you interjected in my pitch.
Yes, Elizabeth, we're buying presents for a narcissistic pensioner. You better show some fucking professionalism. In the end, Sarjan's team spent the most on his gifts, which I'd have thought would have been a compliment, but what do I know? Which leads to a fantastic clash between Ross and His Majesty, which I'd love to play in full, but in order to avoid a one-sided punch-up with some absolutely not human traffickers, and please stop asking us, I'll just read out verbatim what they said using photos and perfect impressions. "Alright, Ross, you look like a photo in an optician's window. You really cunted this task right up by doing fuck all, didn't you?" "Yeah, but I'm right clever, not like you grizzly toss monkey." "That's true, you are clever. In fact, no one deserves firing this week, but the production company demands that I fire someone. I hate this production company with their chimp-like understanding of the legal system. Do you know the other day a teary runner came in and he had all whip marks around his shit, they're coming in. Ross, you're fingered."
Well, good morning. I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but I have been called away on urgent business.
Sorry I couldn't be with you today, I couldn't be arsed. It's 6 a.m. and none of you mean anything to me. I sort of hope you all just kill each other to make my job easily. Wait, what?
Now, Lord Sugar would like to shake the teams up a bit.
They're mixing the teams up? Oh, fuck, that means I'm going to have to actually use their pretentious team names. Do you know what? No. From now on, this team's Wank Flannel and this one's Piss Biscuit. Sorted?
Let me give you a warning. If your tour is not shipshape...
Oh, fuck off. So apparently they have to give people tours of Bruges, again with little to no prior knowledge or experience, you know the deal. They'll inevitably fuck up and most of the audience at home watching in their pants with crisp crumbs matted in their body hair will shout about how they could do better. I am curious to know if any of the passengers on the ferry threw themselves overboard when they found out a plague of apprentice candidates would be released into their atmosphere. They're all stuck on this boat for ages, and they've got this coiffed bastard wandering around banging on about segways, and this greasy prick trying to get them all pissed.
Well, we'll see you right. Don't you worry about that. We'll see you right. Even if you have had a skinful, don't worry about it. We'll get you back.
He's talking about beer the same way a white van driver talks about sweets and puppies. As is pretty obvious to anyone who can think for a second, obviously both tours were hideous disasters, with one being led by a repressed head teacher, and the other being led by a woman who seems to have a genuine fear of facts.
I specified I wasn't very good at facts. Everyone's like, "Oh, we'll help you with the facts." I don't see anyone helping with the facts. I'm left with the facts.
After a quick play about on a Segway and an extremely sober carriage ride, everyone returns to the boat to try and sell tap to yet another captive audience, all presumably desperate for the blessed release of death. Back in Blighty after the mandatory bollocking and not one thank you for the money they brought him, Empress Almighty Sugar Daddy decrees that the team led by, her, what's her name, that child's drawing of a woman was the loser. In an attempt to make herself look less bad, she hides behind the villain from Raiders of the Lost Ark and a 1950s ad executive trying to brush away the mountain of sexual harassment claims. However, it wasn't enough, and it was thankfully decided that I won't have to learn another fucking name. Go on with your business, whoever you are.
You're fired.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
Credit to the Tory speechwriter for getting through his talk about social conscience without vomiting up his own kidneys on this tsunami of lies.
Everyone here is full of personality.
That's a bit optimistic. I'd say you've got maybe 2 personalities between you.